The third name on the list today is David Szymanski. If the name sounds familiar, he's best known for Iron Lung, Squirrel Stapler, and most famous New Blood Dusk.
Let's keep this in mind that I never even heard of him after Dusk. That is until I gotten curious that I had to look through the games list and found two that are promising. Promising enough that looks eldritch horror material just for this sake of the review. But I also forgot to mention that all 4 videos will be as a compilation once it's all set in stone, including some of the bonuses that we might have missed in our category of our reviews. So let us begin with Iron Lung. Iron Lung is a deep-sea dive explorational horror where you take control of a small submarine and taking photos while exploring the Blood Ocean, which it all sounds simple and straightforward. The game is set at a far distant future where all the stars and habitable planets are vanished, leaving only those who were on space stations or spaceships. This event becoming known as the Quiet Rapture. With the supplies dwindling and the infrastructure crumbling and the survivors searching any traces of natural resources of barren moons, they come across an anomaly on the moon itself, an ocean of blood. You are a convict tasked with exploring this anomaly in a makeshift submarine nicknamed the Iron Lung. It was not designed for this depth, so you will be wheeled inside and the forward window will be closed. There was no time for training. If successful, you will earn your freedom, which is pretty elaborate opening, I dare say, for the explanation as to why you're just exploring the deep-sea dive of this blood ocean. The game is a submarine simulator where you had to take photos in designated spots on the map, but also uncovering the secrets and mysteries that are actually on the Iron Lung and also the Blood Ocean. The controls on the submarine is very straightforward and simple. Up and down moves the thrusters, while left and right turns the submarine itself. But it's also a real-time strategy where you have to constantly check the map and making for sure you're not hitting into walls, but also park your sub into designated area just to take the photos. So enough of me just beating around the bush and let's get to the story. At the start, we start off at the GPS location of 125 by 175. And have to make our way through these caverns in order to get to our designated area in order to take the photos, which is just easy by the looks of things. We make our way through the tunnels and take the first photo and we see crystals. This tells me that the cavern has minerals in it. After taking a successful photo, we move on to the next location and take another photo. Looks like bones off of a large mammal of some kind in the Blood Ocean. In fact, it doesn't seem to look like it's inhabitable for anything else to be alive down there. After making observations of the marine life, we make our way to the upper left corner. By the looks of the scans of the tunnels, it looks straightforward. After navigating through the tunnels, we take another photo. It looks like pipe-like structures, but to what, I have no clue. After that bit of mystery, we move to the next objective. Navigating through the cavern-like tunnels is a challenge because you do not want to collide with the walls of the very caverns. But it also left me pondering about the very Blood Ocean itself, where there used to be marine-like life forms that are actually in the Blood Ocean, or where there used to be mineral depositories. To these mysteries, I don't know. And what is up with the mystery pipes? I don't know if this is a structure of some sort or just man-made, but it also left me wondering what could have happened down here. These are all questions I just need answers to, which I just don't have it at the moment. After wondering and pondering, we ran into a problem. We now have a gas leak in the sub. No wonder this is a piece of junk they slapped together. After bitching about the engineering, we get to the destination and take a photo. More bone-like structure, which I'm starting to believe there used to be life down here. The next photo shoot is really close by, it seems. Take our next photo shoot and... Wait a minute, these are skeletal remains of a whale. Why is it doing down here? And then a thought just occurred to me. If what the opening intro says is true about the quiet rapture with all its stars and planets fading out of existence, how did a skeletal remains of a whale from Earth ended up on the moon in the blood ocean? Or are they just different kind of whales far from our own? Or maybe it used to be a normal ocean before it became a blood ocean. Now I'm starting to think something is not right here, and again, I don't have the answers for them. Plus, thinking back on the first photos and taking a look carefully, I realize that these are not minerals, but more of these bones that we've been taking photos of each of these locations. I have a sick feeling that somebody at the chain of command at the space station didn't tell us. The photo looks blurry from this angle, but I could just make it out that this looks like a man-made structure. This almost looked like the Cliff Palace in Montezuma County in Colorado. The Cliff Palace is the largest cliff dwelling in North America. The structure built by the ancestral Puebloans is located in Mesa Verde National Park in their former homeland region. The cliff dwelling and park are in Montezuma County in the southwestern corner of Colorado, in the southwestern United States. The cliff dwelling and the others like it at Mesa Verde were driven to these defensible positions by increasing competition amidst changing climatic conditions. The Cliff Palace was abandoned by 1300, though debate is ongoing as to the cause. Some contend that a series of mega droughts interrupting food production systems was the main cause. The Cliff Palace was rediscovered in 1888 by Richard Weatherthrow and Charlie Mason while they were looking for stray cattle. The reasons they built this is something more interesting than that it has something to do with the Native American mythology. The Thunderbird. People described it a rather large North American bald eagle, and some say hybrids of humans and birds. It is said to create thunder by flapping its wings, and lightning by flashing its eyes. They are often viewed as protectors, sometimes intervening on people's behalf by expecting veneration, prayers, and gifts. Archaeologically, sites containing depictions of these things have been found dating to the past 4,000 years. The Thunderbird is a mythological bird-like spirit in North American indigenous peoples, history, and culture. It is considered a supernatural being of power and strength. With the information in mind, now I'm rather curious if there are some similarities between the two. Something more sinister than we are led to believe. As we headed back out and pondering life's question of, was there a civilization before the blood ocean, this happens. What in blue blazes was that? Now I know damn well we didn't hit a wall because the sensor would have gone off. Plus I just realized that we're back at the start of this cave. Not the very start of it, but like at the cave entrance before the structure that we took photos of. This can only mean one or two things. Either A, there is natural gases that are built up in the cavern, or B, there's something out there, which is impossible because the marine life down here is completely dead. What the fuck was that? I have a sinking feeling we're not alone down here. As usual, more whale bones. I'm beginning to think there's something down here that ate them alive. But surely that's impossible because it's a blood ocean. It's not even a regular ocean. Now thinking back more clearly, I wonder if this thing that's swimming out there is responsible for the death of the marine life down here. I mean, it's plausible because of the whale bones that we saw earlier ago. I'm willing to bet that these man-made structures were built to keep that thing at bay. Yet I have no evidence to support this. In short, we have an unknown enemy that's swimming out there. Yet I have no clue what we're up against. The sad thing about this tiny sub is that it doesn't have missiles on it. It's only used for expeditions such as like this. But it doesn't even say anything about a hostile enemy that's swimming around. Whoever made this shitty ass sub is gonna get demoted, cause now I came to the conclusion that these gases are oxygen. Who the fuck made this? Stockton Rush? The tonal access that I'm seeing is just blurry as shit, whoever took it. Let's better hope that we can just make this through swimmingly. Why is it so bright in here? Oh shit! Someone's definitely getting their ass demoted. After that little fire incident, we try to make our way to the first objective at the far left, which looking at the tunnels alone, however, looks narrower than any other tunnels I have ever seen. Also, that noise outside, can you hear it? I don't know what it is, but it seems like it's just echoing through the tunnels. And once we do make it through, we see this. What the fuck is that? I assume this may be the responsible of the noises of this tunnel that we travel through. After that strange anomaly that we just took a photo of, we back out of the tunnel and... Now I know that is not natural gas. Something down here is fucking with us. We only got about 2 photo shoots left and we call it a day. Let's better make this count. More whale bones. Let's move on to the last location. It's that thing again. Did it just seriously follow us? Ah, shit. It sees us. It looks like we're not gonna make it out of here alive. I hope whoever's watching from the space station up above is gonna face the consequences coming down here. And of course, the oxygen is almost out. Ah, shit. We have a hull breach. I hope all those photos are gonna be worth it in the research. And... done. This guy literally just got me with this. But before we move on to the next game, I need to address something. As soon as we are about to take the last photo, this thing just attacked us. It looked like an anglerfish, but it doesn't have a bulb at the end of its head. But it's also the one that's hunting us through the caverns. This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is a Leviathan. Leviathan in Jewish mythology, a primordial sea serpent. Its sources is a pre-biblical Mesopotamia myth, especially that of the sea monster in the Orgotic myth of Baal. In the Old Testament, Leviathan appears in Psalms 74:14 as a multi-headed sea serpent that is killed by God and given as food to the Hebrews in the wilderness. In Asa 27:1, Leviathan is a serpent and a symbol of Israel's enemies, who will be slain by God. In Job 41, it is a sea monster and a symbol of God's power of creation. In Lovecraft's depiction, the Leviathan is a colossal shark-like or a serpent creature more than 50 feet in length. It is regarded as an offspring or avatar of Cthulhu. though some sources speculate that it could alternatively be a particular massive deep one or star spawn, and others consider it part of an unholy trinity alongside Dagon and Hydra. Its powerful jaws are capable of biting through wood, metal, flesh, and bone with ease, and can gape wide enough to swallow creatures almost as large as a dark young whole. Despite being most proficient at swimming, it is capable of moving on land as well. And it most certainly seems like we meet our fate with the Leviathan.
A second game is Squirrel Stapler, a hunting simulator horror where you hunt squirrels and staple them onto a course. This is both hilarious, but also messed up at the same time to be comedy horror game on the list. In fact, this is right up there with Puppet Combo from a previous list we mentioned. The premise is that you play as a hunter who lives in a cabin in the woods, hunt down squirrels, and staples them to his deceased wife who's nailed to the wall. Though I'm not sure what happened here either. Then he could have possibly killed her for, shall we say, unknown reasons. There's a room that has a pentagram of some kind scribbled on the floor with a note saying, "Thou shalt not staple squirrels," and then it's the goat of the woods, which I think is a mistranslation for it to say, the black goat of the woods, or better known as Shub-Niggurath. Shub-Niggurath is an outer god in the pantheon. She is a perverse fertility deity, said to appear as an hellish cloud-like entity. She is being described as an enormous mass which extrudes black tentacles, slime-dripping mouths, and short, writhing goat legs. Yet we not encounter it yet. The game is simple and mundane. By hunting squirrels and stapling them within 5 days, you hunt down 5 normal-sized squirrels on the first. That is until you get to hunt 1 large squirrel on top of the 5 you're hunting for on the second day. Day 2 and Day 3 adds to new enemies in the playing field. The squirrel ghost that charges you and takes a quarter of your health, and the squirrel bears that hears you across the map and explodes when getting too close. These guys, you do not want to fuck around and find out by losing health. There are notes scattered on locations for you to find and read, yet it has no relations in hunting squirrels other than stories to tell at night. Overall, the game is short and simple when playing it. Yeah, sure, there are some freaky type of shit within 4 days. That is until the 5th day is when you meet God after hunting squirrels. There's writing on the wall that said God is coming in 5 days. Before heading outside and hunt squirrels, I'll let the final bit play out for you to experience. And with that we met our fate to God. Yet it looks as though it's a squirrel god of some kind with horns. Though this I think may be the black goat of the woods that is mentioned in the note, though it may be an incarnation of Shub-Niggurath that attacked us.
Last game on the list is Dusk, a first-person shooter Lovecraftian horror game that was taken from the Quake engine and cranking up to 11. I've heard about this game by CV11, who played this and actually did a Let's Play Pro on it. This game here is not your Call of Duty pansy shit when you're strafe running and dodging enemy projectiles. Came out in 2019, this is right up there with Quake, Doom, and Wolfenstein, the original. Only this one did a 360 on the Quake engine's own department. You play as an unnamed treasure hunter who got bushwhacked by a bunch of cultists. Their leader, Jacob, wanted to sacrifice you to an eldritch god, but to whom is unknown. But I'm not here to talk about the game, but I'm talking about the enemies that are in the game. The Black Phillips, according to the legend of 1630s, Satan takes on the form of a black billy goat and is acquired by a family of English Puritans living in New England, who give him the name Black Phillip, which is kinda odd to see it in a Lovecraftian horror game of a first-person shooter. The Leathernecks remind me of the Butcher from Puppet Combo's Stay Out of the House and Night Shift, which I'm pretty sure that's just a coincidence from the looks of things. The Scarecrows kind of remind me of the Scarecrow from Dark Knight of the Scarecrow from 1981, yet it just somehow adds the charm to this game. Also, I forgot to mention they're armed with double-barrel shotguns. The Wizard Mages throw fireballs, which is nothing special. At this point, I'm only focusing on certain enemies that caught my attention. The Intoxicator. Now, I'm not even sure if this is actually from that story where they flush a gator into the sewer, roaming around for years, and it just grew huge and terrorized through the New York sewers. And Jacob considered it as a pet, which he's mad fucking insane to keep that around.
My pet. You'll pay for that.
The Wendigo is a mythological cannibalistic monster in the spiritual tradition of North American Algonquin-speaking tribes. It is associated with winter and described as either a fearsome beast that stalks and eats humans, or as a spirit that possesses humans, causing them to turn into cannibals. Some legends say the Wendigo is an emaciated figure with ashen flesh. Others described it as a giant creature up to 15 feet tall, or as a beast that grows larger the more it eats. It may have sunken or glowing eyes and sharp yellow fangs and claws. Its lips are chewed or entirely missing because it has eaten them. It may be hairless or have fur, and it may have pointed ears and horns, or antlers like a deer. It smells of rotting flesh and is usually first detected by humans by its horrible odor.
No, it's just me.
Nyarlathotep, otherwise known as the Crawling Chaos. Nyarlathotep is the spawn of Asatoth and acts as the outer god's soul and messenger. Nyarlathotep differs from the other deities in the mythos in a number of ways. Most of the outer gods are exiled to the stars, like Yog-Sothoth and Asatoth, and most of the other great old ones are sleeping and dreaming like Cthulhu. Nyarlathotep, however, is an active and frequently walks the earth in the guises of a human being, usually a tall, slim, joyous man. He has 1,000 other forms and manifestations, many reputed to be quite horrific insanity blasting. Yet Nyarlathotep seems to be deliberately deceptive and manipulative, and even uses propaganda and achieve his goals. In this regard, he is probably the most human-like among the outer gods.
You are indeed worthy, and so now my power is yours. How does it feel? Horrible, isn't it? But wonderful, yes. Who you were before is insignificant. Who you are now is inconceivable. But here you shall remain, till I have need of you again. For one must always reign beneath
We are now the servant of Nyarlathotep in his services. And that's generally the end. I gotta say about David Szymanski though, he really did hit the note on the Lovecraftian vibe, much like Yames in the previous list. Overall, I highly recommend to just take a look at Iron Lung, Squirrel Stapler, and of course, Dusk. Cause in the final list is a place in my heart that I remembered years ago.